Kicked off my shoes, dashed it in the ring.
Okay, hi everybody, my name is Natalie and welcome to my channel. Today we're doing another thrift flip. I haven't done one of these in such a long time, so I'm really excited to sew. I'm gonna attempt to alter this beautiful midi skirt. I absolutely love the pattern. Look at these beautiful flowers. I actually really like the skirt as it is right now, however, it is way too big on me. So I'm gonna try to turn it into a skirt set. Yeah. I don't know, I've never done that before, so we're gonna see how that will go. But yeah, I hope it will turn out pretty great. I don't know. So yeah, if you're a beginner at sewing, this is a perfect video for you because I literally never done this before, so I'm a beginner too. So yeah, I'm gonna let you know how it will go, if it's worth it to try it out. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so this is how the skirt looks right now. As you can see, it's not really flattering. It's not that bad, but I think it needs a little glow up. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna turn it inside out. Okay, so I have the skirt on inside out. So now the first step that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna find the two side seams. One is right here and the other one is right here. And I'm gonna start gathering the loose fabric right there. Once I have that, I'm gonna let go of that one side and I'm gonna take a pen and I'm just gonna make a mark on the other side, and then I'm gonna gather the fabric on the first side again and I'm gonna make a mark on this side. I have both of the sides marked. Now let's figure out how long I want the skirt to be. So basically I'm just gonna wing it. I think I want the skirt to be like this long, so I'm gonna make marks right on my legs. So yeah, once I have all of the marks ready, I'm just gonna take off the skirt and we're gonna move to the pinning process. Okay, so I have my skirt right here with the marks on the side seams that we made earlier, and now I'm just gonna take my ruler and I'm just gonna measure how much fabric I'm actually gonna be taking in from the sides, and I'm gonna make sure that it's the same amount on both of the sides. Once I have that, I'm gonna connect the mark on the side right here with this little point because I don't want to be sewing into the skirt, because as you can see, my skirt has a lining and it's kind of difficult to sew with the lining attached. And if I wanted to make it, you know, go a little bit further, I would have to separate the lining from the skirt, and that's just like a lot of work and I don't have time for that. So I'm basically just gonna take in the fabric just from this like little belt. It's not really a belt, but you know, this little top area of the skirt. Okay, once I have both of the sides marked, I'm just gonna pin it down. And yeah, now I have it pinned, so I'm gonna sew it right together. Okay, so this is how the skirt looks right after sewing it. I actually had to sew a little bit more further because when I sewed the skirt just to about here, you know, as I said before, the skirt looked really bulky. So what I ended up doing was that I pinned together the lining and the skirt and I sewed to about here on each side, and I think now the skirt looks 10 times better and 10 times more natural, so I am happy. So anyways, now let's move to the length of the skirt. Okay, so I again took the skirt off and now I'm gonna focus on the length. My two marks that we made earlier are right here, but just to make sure that the skirt will be the length that I truly want it to be, I'm gonna take one of my favorite mini skirts that has the perfect length for me, and I'm just gonna put it over it. And as you can see, the skirt is way longer than my previous marks. So yeah, thank God I measured it because the skirt would have ended up being very, very short. So anyways, now I'm gonna take my marker and I'm gonna mark about 2 centimeters under the skirt. And just because my skirt has a lining, this will be a little bit more difficult for me because I will have to alter the skirt and the lining on its own. So first I'm gonna do the lining. So what that means is that the lining has to be shorter than the actual skirt, right? So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take my ruler again and I'm gonna make a mark around 5 centimeters higher than the mark for the actual skirt. I'm gonna do it kind of everywhere. And yeah, here I have my marks for the underlayer. And then I'm gonna also take my measuring tape and I'm gonna measure from the top of the skirt all the way to the marks, just so that I can be sure that the skirt and the lining will be straight, not crooked. So yeah. And now when I have all my marks, I'm just gonna connect them with a line. Okay, and once I have the line done, I'm just gonna cut along the line. Okay, it's all cut off. Now let's hem it. To do that, I just kind of took the lining and I kind of like turned it inside out so that the skirt is kind of separated from me hemming the lining. And yeah, so now I'm just gonna take my sewing machine. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take the raw hem and I'm gonna fold it up 2 times, just like this. And now that I have it done, I'm gonna put it under the foot of the sewing machine. Once I have that, I'm just gonna prepare a little bit more of the fabric. And yeah, I'm just gonna do it as I will sew. This took literally 10 minutes, but the lining is all hemmed, thank God. Okay, now that the lining is all pinned, we're gonna have to do the same with the skirt. So basically, I'm gonna take my measuring tape again, and I'm gonna basically do the same thing. I'm just gonna measure everything from the top to the bottom and make a mark. So I laid the skirt on the floor right here on my cutting board, and I'm gonna use this little roller knife. Fun fact, I actually never used this before, and I got only 1 try to cut this right, so hopefully I'm not gonna mess up. But yeah, anyways, let's do it. Oh my God. I did it. Just to make sure that the skirt is cut symmetrically, I just kind of folded it. As you can see, there's like a 1 centimeter difference, but honestly, it's not that bad, and I don't think a lot of people will notice, so I'm just gonna leave it like this. And yeah, now I'm literally just gonna do the same thing as I did with the lining, and yeah, I'm just gonna hem it. Okay, another 10 minutes later, and the skirt is all done. I have to say, I kind of messed up the hemming part, and I'm so angry at myself, but it's not that noticeable, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. But basically, when I was hemming, I didn't notice that my sewing machine was not on the right setting. So basically, from the side that I was sewing it looked perfectly fine, but then when you flip it around, like, it's not that bad, but it's not perfect. Like, you can see little bumps somewhere, but yeah, it's just not the way I would want it to be, but whatever, it works. So yeah, I'm not mad at it. The skirt is all done. Now let's move to the top. I am left with this little piece of fabric that was, you know, the bottom part of the skirt. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna do this type of top on it. I wanted to do it the TikTok way, that, you know, I'm just gonna leave it like this, leave the 2 layers on there, and then I was just gonna wrap it around myself and like thread the tie through the 2 layers, but then I realized that it's, you know, that it won't fit around my boobs. So I'm thinking that I'm just gonna like seam rip one of the seams open, and instead I'm gonna be left with like a long piece of fabric, and I'm gonna use that as like the wrapping thing. I'm really bad at explaining things, so you know what, let's just sew it and hopefully you'll catch on when I'm gonna be transforming this. Okay, so I'm taking the skirt and I'm just picking a random seam, and I'm just gonna take my little seam ripper and I'm just gonna seam rip it. Okay, this is what I am left with. The first thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna hem this long raw edge. Okay, so the whole thing is hemmed. This time my sewing machine was on the right setting, so it looks absolutely perfect, and I'm really sad that the skirt doesn't look like that, but whatever. Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna figure out how long I actually need the fabric to be. The fabric has the 2 seams right here, and when I put it together, it's like the perfect length. So yeah, I'm just gonna seam rip these 2 seams. So let's do it. Boom! This thing is off. Now the last thing that I'm gonna hem are these 2 raw edges, and I'm basically gonna leave like quite a bit of space between that hem because I'm gonna have to loop you know, a string through that. My camera's dead, so I'm filming on my phone, but basically I tried the top on with this like ribbon thing, and I don't like how it looks. So I took this like last piece of scrap fabric that I had, and I cut it into these 3 long pieces, and basically I'm just gonna fold them up so that it doesn't fray, and I'm gonna make like a long string so that I could replace this with like a better material. Whatever, let's just skip to the part where I already have it done. Okay, so I sewn all the 3 pieces together and now I'm left with this like long string. So basically now I'm gonna take one of the ends of the string and a safety pin and I'm gonna feed it through both of the seams that we just made. Okay, so I fed the string through the seams and now the final thing that we've been all waiting for, let's try it on! Okay, so this is once again how the skirt looked before. And this is how it looks after.
Yeah, bottles on me, long as someone drink it. Never drop the ball, fuck it, y'all thinking. Making sure the young money ship is never sinking. About to set it off in this bitch, Jada Pinkett.
Okay, so that's the end of the video. I hope you liked it. I think it turned out so well. I literally can't get over it. I think I'm gonna wear it all day just around the house because I literally, yeah, I'm in love. Anyways, I have to say this was a little bit harder than I thought just because my skirt had the lining. So if you're a beginner, I would suggest to work with a skirt that doesn't have a lining. But other than that, I think the transformation was pretty easy, pretty quick. So yeah, I would just recommend it to anyone. And also, you recycle old clothing, plus you save money, so why not try it, you know? Anyways, if you like the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it because it helps with the YouTube algorithm and it makes me more visible to more people. So yeah, it would literally mean the world to me. Also, if you have a minute, I would really appreciate if you would follow me on my Instagram. This is my username. And yeah, that's kind of everything. So yeah, I will let you enjoy the rest of your day and I will see you in my next video. Bye!